Hi guys, welcome to Visa Simply again. D Aluwalia. Let's talk about. We all been talking about new skill regional visas, isn't it? We all been talking about 491, 494. What's gonna be there, how it's gonna be, and what changes are coming through. All right. So let's go and let's discuss about this today, guys. Now, new provisional or new skill regional visas, provisional and permanent. There are two new visas, as we all know, which will come in effect on the 16th of November. And mainly these visas will be the skill regional visa subclass 491 and skilled employer sponsored regional visa subclass 494. Okay, and of course now with the 491 there are new set of rules that are coming in. You got to live in a regional area for the period of 3 years. The visa would be for the period of 5 years. You would also need to find work, and you need to work and live in the regional areas before you would be able to apply for the permanent visas. So this information we have received from Department of Immigration some time back. I thought I would like to share this with you. A lot of you have a lot of different doubts and thoughts about it. So why not make a video and see, what's coming through and how it's going to benefit you. All right. Okay. So let's now, there would also be a third new visa that will be introduced on the 16th of November 2022, which is 2022. And the whole reason why it will be after 3 years, guys, because you would have to, if you get one of these visas, either 491 or 494, you would need to live in the regional area for the 3 years. Then only you would be able to apply for the permanent visa, which will be subclass 191. Okay, let's move it to the next slide. Okay, regional definition. Okay, now guys, what is the definition of region? Now there have been, up till now we have the different postcodes and everything on those regards. It's more simplified now. So what does regional Australia means? Regional Australia means anything other than Brisbane and Gold Coast, Perth, Sydney and Melbourne. Other than that, whole Australia is a regional area. So if you are out of these areas, these 4 cities, with Gold Coast, I find Gold Coast a separate city, to be honest. So these 5 cities, other than these 5 cities, guys, whole Australia would be in a regional area. Okay, now occupations. Employers in regional Australia as well as state and territory governments who sponsor regional skilled migrants will have access to more occupation than equivalent non-regional areas. So guys, there would be a bigger pool of occupations which will fall in the regional areas. So that would be another good news, fantastic news. All right, now if we can look at here, now the new skilled employer sponsored regional visa will have 673 eligible occupations, which is over 450 more occupations, guys. So when we look at it, when we look at for subclass 189, or when we look at it a medium to long term list, there are very limited occupations in that list. Okay, but when we look at the regional areas, it has a wide variety and a wide range of occupations. It almost covers the whole thing. Okay, and now the new skilled work regional provisional visa will have 504 eligible occupations, 77 more than the closest non-regional equivalent visas. All right. Okay. Now, what is the difference between the old and the new regional visas, guys? Okay, that is important. That is very important today. Now, applicants for the new skilled work regional provisional visa will have access to more points for regional nomination and sponsorships. There would be a priority processing. So if you are in the regional areas, you're going to get your visa much faster. Okay. Now, require the holder and their families to live, work and study in the regional area for 3 years. This is very, very critical. So what was happening up till now? All right, migrants would go to the regional area, they'll get their 189 and they'll jump back to metropolitan cities, isn't it? All right, so this is what the government is trying to do. And I think it is good for Australia. This way, we would be building up more new cities, okay? And that will further strong the economy. And that's what really Australia needs at the moment. Okay. Now, report any changes or circumstances to the department within 14 days. So basically, they're trying to put some more regulations. They want to make sure that if a migrant goes to the regional area, you stick there. You commit to that area for 3 to 5 years, all right? Minimum 3 years, but in practically think about this way. Once you get your provisional visa, which will lead to a permanent visa, you at least have to be there for the period of 3 years. So only after 3 years you would be eligible to apply for the permanent visa. I am anticipating that that's going to take another 6, 8, 10 months. We don't know yet, but from the history or from my experience, you're not going to get it in a day. All right, nothing comes in a day in the world of immigration. So another 8, 10 months you add it up. So you're at least looking at somewhere around 4 to 5 years of a commitment to a regional area, and there's a good chance once you live in that place for 4 to 5 years, you might never come back to Melbourne or Sydney or Brisbane or Perth. All right, now you may be required to attend an interview or provide supporting evidence to demonstrate that you are living and working in a regional area. That's fine. If you are living there, that shouldn't be a problem. Migrants are more likely to stay in regional area longer term. Yeah, that's what I talked about. All right, okay. Now let's talk about the visas in particular as well. All right. Now let's talk about subclass 491. So subclass 491, that's basically replacing 489. We all know that is replacing 489. Most of the states have stopped 489 for now, and once 491 will commence from 16th of November, the applications will be open. 2 invitation pathways, state terrain nominated and family sponsored. Okay, so if your family is living in a regional area, you can also be sponsored by a family, or otherwise a state will nominate you. Every state has its own set of rules, guys. What I would be doing in the coming days or weeks, I would be specifically talking about individual cities, individual states, because every state has its own requirements. And again, it depends. Where do you sit? What is your occupation? What sort of trade you are in? And what will best benefit you? Okay? Now, required to declare that all aspects have a genuine intention to live. So yes, of course, you need to have a genuine intention to live in the States. Australian value statement applies to all 16 years over 5-year granted period. So this visa will be for the period of 5 years, and then you have to meet certain requirements. Once you meet a certain requirements, you would be eligible to apply for the permanent visa, which is 191. Though on the other ways, guys, don't worry about it. Even when you get 491, or even you would be, once you have applied 491, you would be eligible for Medicare, you would be eligible to work full time and stuff like that. Your family would be able to live with you. So that should be fine. That should not be a problem. Okay. Now, more rigorous regional compliance framework, that's what I was talking earlier. So they're going to put some more conditions. This is just to make sure that if you have been given this visa, you actually stick with the conditions of the visa, and you invest in the regional Australia by having an employment in the regional Australia. So that will definitely help Australia and make sure you are compliant and you can actually get your permanent visa.
Pointers.
All right, lodge an expression of interest and you are invited to apply. So of course you still have to lodge an EOI, expression of interest. Once you have applied for expression of interest and once you get an invite, you would need to lodge 491. Once you lodge a 491, the primary applicant visa application fee is $4,045. Additional applicant over 18 would be $2,025, and any kids or applicants under 18 would be $1,010. Now there will be a second VAT if any adult application does not meet the functional English. So if your partners don't have functional English, then of course there's an additional money you have to pay, or the fees you have to pay, which is $4,890. You should be 8 under 45 and occupation on the relevant skill occupation list. You can go to our website, you can find a link below as well where we're going to put the relevant occupation list, so that helps you to look whether your occupation falls in that list or not. All right. you would need to have competent English, meet the point test pass mark, 65 points minimum. But guys, remember, 10 points you're going to get by the state. So technically, you will only need 55 points for 491 visa. All right, eligible to apply for student, so for subclass 191 permanent resident. Of course, once you meet your criteria, and then you can, after 3 years, you can apply for 191, which is a permanent visa. All right, now let's talk about the point test, guys. Let's talk about the point test. So there have been some changes in the point test. Okay, now up till now, if you've been nominated by a state or territory government or sponsorship by an eligible family member to reside and work in a specified designated area, the current points are 10, which would lead to 15. So in my last slide, guys, when I said to you, technically you only need 55 points. If you really look within, once this is going to come in place, you only need 50 points, because 15 points will be given by the state. Once you get these 15 points by the state, so and you need 65 points, so you add up these 15 points, so you technically only need 50 points if you are targeting for 491. Okay, now age, again, if you are 18 to 25, it's 25 points. If you are 25 and under 33, you get 30 points. If you are 33 to under 40, you get 25 points. Within age 40 to 45, 15 points. Proficient English gives you 10 points. Superior English gives you 20 points. Work experience, again, it all remains the same. Outside Australia, if you have 3 years of work experience, it will give you 5 points. If you have 5 years of work experience in the last 10 years, it will give you 10 points. And if you have 8 years of work experience in the last 10 years, that will give you 15 points. Onshore work experience still remains the same. If you have 1 year experience in the last 10 years, you get 5 points. If you have 3 years experience in the last 10 years, you get 10 points. And if you have 5 years of work experience in the last 10 years onshore, you get 15 points. All right. Now, qualifications, again, if you got a doctorate or a PhD, gives you 20 points. If you have bachelor's or master's, 15 points. Diploma trade gives you 10 points. Or if you have assessment in the skill occupation, that gives you 10 points. Now, Australian study requirement, if you meet that, you get 5 points. There's also a new addition to specialist education occupations, a master's degree by research or doctorate from an Australian education that included at least 2 academic years in relevant STEM field, that gives you 10 points. So a lot of you, study in Australia used to get 5 points, or this extra used to give 5 points, that will be now to 10 points, basically, if you have studied in STEM. All right. Now, guys, studying in a regional area still gives you extra 5 points. So there are always benefits to go study, live in the regional area. This is the future, guys. If you will jump on the ship now, it will be much more easier. I can bet you, most of you, if the ones who are not willing to move to the regional area now, you will probably move to the regional area in 1 or 2 years, and I'll tell you one thing, you will start finding it difficult over there as well, because by that time, everybody would be there. Anyways, that's up to you guys. Okay, my job here is to tell you what's new coming in and how it may affect you and how you can make your future decisions according to the information. Okay, now, partner skills, qualifications, 5 points, and there will be extra 5 points, that's going to be 10 points. Partner with competent English, that will give 5 points. Single applicants, no partner, that will give 10 points. Now, lot of you been coming to my office, and we've been discussing this, and a lot of you have been asking this specific question. Oh, I am sitting at 75 points now. After the new changes, would I get 80 points? Yes, you would. But think in this way, guys, all right? And I have discussed this with a lot of migration agents as well, and a lot of people get confused with this. So when you really look at it, so the partner skill qualifications, all right? So if your partner has skill qualifications, instead of 5 points, you get 10 points. Or if you're even single, okay? If you're even single, you still get 10 points. So really, if you really look at the bigger picture, it's not going to make much of a difference, because everybody who has a skilled partner or who doesn't have a partner will get these extra points. So the benchmark will lift up. It's not really going to make a difference. I hope I'm bringing some sense to it. The only people who would be affected by this, how do I say that? The ones who have dumb partners. If your partner is dumb, then only you're affected. If you're single or if you have a smart one, you'll be fine. But I think the bar would be raised for everyone. So it's not really going to make a difference. So everybody would be getting the same point. It's not that the number of people will get, there are more seats coming up for the subclass. And this is more, we are talking about subclass 189, isn't it? There would be more, there would be more places available for this physically. That's not the case. The bar would be raised up for everyone. Only the ones with the dumb partners would be affected by this. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, okay, so now when we're talking about the compliance framework, okay, so these are the new conditions which will come on 191 and 194 visas. So the conditions are: notify immigration of changes within 14 days. If there are change of circumstances, if you move your place, if you move your address, we would need, you would have this condition on your visa and you would need to comply. Live, work and study only in a designated regional area. So you can live, work and study only in the designated areas if you are on 191 or 194. 8580, if requested to do so, provide evidence within 28 days. 8581, if requested to do so, attend an interview. So there would be some additional conditions just to make sure that you comply with your visa conditions. Now, these are the transition arrangements. Let's go back on this. Okay, these are the transition arrangements. What I'm going to do, these guys, I have already did another video on this. I'll probably do another video for this because I don't think this is coming up very clear and you guys can actually able to read this up. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do another slide. Can we move to the next slide? Okay, so skilled employer sponsored regional visa. So guys, again, this is the sponsored regional visa, which is subclass 194, which is basically replacing 187. Okay, so let's talk about this visa. All right, this will be incorporated into a standard business sponsorship framework. So when we talk about the standard business sponsorship framework, which is we are talking about the same framework what we have for subclass 482 at the moment. Okay, no separate sponsorship class created. Existing SBS will be able to lodge SC/SR nomination. So the employers or the businesses who want their employees to sponsor on this visa, they would have to have the SBS license. All right. Okay. Sponsorship obligations will apply. Some regulations have been amended. There would be two streams: employer sponsored and labor agreement. Okay, so employer sponsored scheme would be under the SBS license, and the labor agreement scheme is for those employers who can have a specific agreement with the Department of Immigration to get some specific skill set. If you are one of those employers who are looking to get many number of employees with a specific skill set which is not already there in the employer sponsored scheme, then we can definitely look into that for you. Okay, now from 494 lodge, again the visa application fees is $4,045. Additional applicant would be 2,025. Age under 18 would be 1010. Now again, if your partner doesn't have functional English, then there would be an extra fees of $4,890. Again, the grant period will be for the period of 5 years. After 3 years, you would be able to apply for your permanent visa, which is 191, and you would be eligible for Medicare. GP requirement does not apply on this. Doctor registration requirement does not apply. Regional compliance conditions plus 8608 and similar to 8607 would apply on that visa. Just make sure that you are complying on your visa conditions. Now, it's a 3-stage process. Now, It's very similar to 482 visas, which is sponsorship, nomination, and visa application. So if an Australian employer who's in a regional area who's willing to sponsor you, or if you're an employer you want to get some foreign employees, and then you need to have a SBS license, the sponsorship. Once you have the sponsorship, you have to do the nomination and the visa application. So there would be 3 different visa applications for this particular subclass. Nomination, all right. This is the form what you need to use. There is no fees for the nomination fee. Applicant must be an approved sponsor. So of course, you know, the employer should be approved sponsor. Australian businesses only. Partly to the labor agreement that authorizes subclass 494 visas. Position must be located in a designated regional area. Of course, the position should be the employee should be in the designated regional area. He should be working in a designated regional area. Occupation must be specified in the relevant occupation list or in the labor agreement. Must be a genuine position. Labor market testing must be undertaken. No international trade obligation exemptions. Feel free to talk about this if you need to know more about it, and give us a call to our office, and we are more than happy to discuss about labor market testing for you. So basically what it means is that the employers need to prove that there is no local Australian or a permanent resident available to do that job, and that's the reason they are employing a foreign worker or sponsoring a foreign worker to do this job on this particular visa. Okay. Full-time position, annual market salary rate requirements, no information that employment conditions are less favorable than an Australian worker. Must be engaged as an employee under a written contract of the employment. Associated entity provisions apply. Sponsor must not have engaged in discriminatory recruitment practices. SAF condition must be paid. So the small businesses which have less than $10 million of turnover would need to pay a levy of $3,000 for each applicant. The businesses who have a turnover of more than more than $10 million a year have to pay off levy of $5,000 for each applicant. Pro rata SAF levy if nomination is for 494 holder to change employer must provide visa grant date. Regional certifying body certification provided by regarding EMSR, no adverse information. No adverse information about sponsor. Of course, you should be age under 45 at the time of the application, have an approved subclass 494 nomination that hasn't ceased in the correct stream. If in Australia, hold a substantive visa or a bridging visa A, B or C. Successful skill assessment at the time of application, genuine intention to perform occupation, have at least 3 years of full-time relevant work experience in the nominated occupation or related field at the same level of skill. Competent English at the time of application, meet health and character requirements. Australian value applies to all 16 and over members of the family unit are listed in nomination or sponsor has agreed to include in writing. No new RSMS direct entry application will be able to lodge from 16th of November. So RSMS would start from 16th of, technically from 15th of November. So from 16th of November, you would not be able to apply for 187, you would only be able to apply for 194. RS transition application will only be able to lodge and nominate either a transition 457 worker or a transitional 482 worker. So if you already on a 457 or 482, then you may still be able to apply for RSMS under transition stream. RSMS nomination lodged before 16th of November, where the nomination has not been approved or refused before 16th of November 2000, and the nominee is not a transitional 457 worker or a transitional 482 worker, and a nominee has not lodged a 187 visa application before 16th November, are taken to be withdrawn on 16th of November 2019. Alright, okay. No new RSM. Okay. Now, when we look at the transition arrangement, man, guys, now, if you have an existing SBS sponsorship, this is for the employers, nominate overseas workers under the TSS program or a new SESR program, and approved RSMSD nomination, but a visa application has not been lodged. Not lodged an RSMSD visa application, request the SAF levy be refunded as my nomination cannot be used. And approved RSMS TRT nomination, but a visa application has not been lodged and my nominee is not a transitional 457 or 482 worker. Not lodged the RSMS TRN application, request the SAF levy to be refunded as my nomination cannot be used. And approved RSMS TRT nomination, but a visa application has not been lodged and my nominee is transitional 457 worker, lodge the RSMS TRT visa application. So in a situations where approved RSMS TRT nomination but the visa application has not been lodged and the nominee is on 457 or 482, then yes, the employers would be able to lodge the RSMS for situation like this. And RSMS nomination that hasn't been approved or refused, a visa application has not been lodged and my nominee is not a transitional 457 482 worker, request for SAF levy to be refunded because you won't be able to lodge the application. Okay, guys, so this is what I wanted to talk about these two visas. Now, if you have more questions, feel free to contact our office. You can call us on 1300-307-451. I repeat that, 1300-307-451, and we are more than happy to help you, guide you. And again, as I said to you, I would be making new videos specifically about regional areas, because every regional health area has its own requirement, every state has its own requirement, and it is very important for you before you make the decision which regional area you want to move to, or if you're already in a regional area, what you need, what are the requirements of that state, of that regional area, and how you meet those requirements. All right, good luck to everyone. Bye for now, guys. See ya.